57%. Over 57% of all online retail sales go through one business. And that one business is Amazon. Their next runner up is Walmart, but they're only at 6%. That is the closest to them. And that comes from a third-party data collection and analytics website called payments.com. So it is not at all affiliated with Amazon, and they're marketing 57%. Over half of all online retail sales through one business. And what happens when one business corners the market, when they control everything? The answer is exploitation. They exploit their workers and their consumers because we want things quick and cheap. We're lazy. We just want it here, we want it now, and we don't want to have to spend too much money. And this is what causes this is that the company just tries to streamline. What causes the exploitation? They cut corners, they cut costs, they minimize everything that they can. We've all probably heard of the whole drivers and bottles thing, and I personally have seen it. I worked at Amazon I was only a month. That's all I could take because of how bad it was there. And I do a lot of shopping online, don't get me wrong. Online shopping is great, but you gotta vet the stores. You gotta look through and see what is going on behind the scenes. Now, Amazon in particular, the drivers and bottles, we heard that. Jenai Nguyen of Mashable has an article talking about drivers that were put on crunch time. They had so many packages that they were trying to deliver so quickly because the company was just banging that into them saying, hey, you've got to get these in today or else you might get fired. You don't hit the metrics, you're kicked out. And Amazon also uses data mining. On their own website, you can Google Amazon data mining and it'll pull up a section saying, oh yeah, we analyze your purchase history, we analyze your returns, your payment methods, but it's just so we can market better to you, I swear, that's it. And they use predictive algorithms so they can bring up things that you might be interested in, things that they think you'll have a higher chance to buy. For predictive algorithms, why would you be worried about that? It's good for you. It brings things to your attention that you weren't aware of before. But in a 2012 interview with the New York Times, Andrew Pohl, a statistician for Target, talked about a story of a teenage girl. She was living at home with her parents, going to high school, much like anyone would. But she started getting coupons in the mail for diapers and prenatal vitamins. And her dad, furious, goes to the local Target, and complains to the manager, talking about how, oh, this is ridiculous, what kind of ideas are you trying to put in my daughter's head? And the manager was totally floored. He could not believe what was happening. He was apologizing profusely to the point that a few days later, he called the father to apologize again. But the father was the one who ended up apologizing because his daughter had come to him in that time and told him that she was pregnant. And a corporation knew before her own father. Is this the kind of world we want to live in? Do we want corporations to know this much about us? And some people might say, well, it's the free market. Us consumers, if you want to shop at something, you have to do your own research. You have to know these sorts of things. But it should not come at the cost of worker protection and privacy. Amazon, for example, has actively engaged in union busting, illegal union busting, removing messages from their company message boards, saying, hey, we should start a union at this warehouse. They actively go against that, and they have a massive carbon footprint. I mean, the online retail should actually be better for the environment because you don't have as many cars driving to one store. For example, like you get one person going grocery shopping for a whole family. They go there every week to that one store, times however many customers there are. But with the online retail, you just get one truck delivering packages to the whole neighborhood, one truck delivering everything. And it should be much better. But Amazon, they send out half-loaded trucks because of those quick delivery windows. You want it tonight. I want it today. I ordered it at noon. I want it here by tonight. So they send out a truck as quick as they can with a half load, making the efficiency go down. But slower delivery would be more sustainable. It's one quick and easy thing to do. Just, oh, I'm willing to wait 3 days. It might still get there earlier, but you have contributed to less rush in that warehouse, which contributes to less crunch time on the workers. So how did we get here? Laziness and overconsumption. Two big ones. We want new things, we want them easily, and we want them fast and cheap. Demand breeds innovation. I mean, we've seen this it's the tale as old as time. For example, when Eli Whitney invented the cotton gin, he invented it to create less overall work. At the time, it was all done by slaves, but he still wanted things to be easier on them. He wanted a quicker production process. but innovation doesn't equal less work in reality. For example, let's use some statistics from William Phillips' study in 2004. In 1793, the cotton gin was invented. 3 years prior, the South was producing 3.1 million bales of cotton. Just 2 years after the invention, they were up to 17.7 million bales. And then in 1810, they were at 117.4. They were using quantity over quality. They were using shorter fiber cotton that most people didn't want to work with because it was harder to create fabrics, but it played better with the cotton gin. So they were increasing production. It grew better in the South. They wanted to just ramp it up as quickly as possible because of greed. But I hear some people saying tech, it should lower the costs, right? It cuts corners, it makes things easier, it makes the production go faster, but it doesn't. According to basic economics, like the supply should go up and the demand should be relatively consistent. But when that happens, the price drops and more people see value in that. So then they go and buy it and demand increases. And it goes over and over and over until the company can charge as much as they want that the consumer will still purchase. It just creates a cycle. For example, it happened with pineapples. According to Bethan Bell, reporting for BBC, pineapples used to be a luxury item because they were so tropical to people in London. But then the Dole Fruit Company, who you might know, created plantations, farming pineapples at a ridiculously high rate, lowering the cost, getting lower people in the classes and get them. And that led to the demand being much higher, with the price somewhat lower, but they still tried to get as much money out of it as they could. But now today, since it's such a ubiquitous item, you walk by it in your grocery store, you don't see any difference. You're just like, oh, it's just a pineapple, that's what it is. But where does this all lead? This leads to an erosion of protections for both consumers and workers alike. You erode the privacy of the consumer and you reduce the morale of workers and such. Because anything done is to satisfy consumers. We want something quick, easy, fast. We don't care what happens behind the scenes, how it gets to you, you just care that it's there. And companies will put profit over morals, which is a big thing. They will do whatever they can to make a quick buck, such as that illegal union busting that Amazon has taken in. If you look at the Better Business Bureau online, there are 2 current government actions being taken against Amazon because they are misreporting entries in their warehouses, for example. When I worked there, they would cut breaks short. You wouldn't know what time your shift was ending until halfway through. And nobody should have to be put through that just to put food on the table for their family. But where do we go from here? How can we make things change? All you need to do is explore alternatives. The Better Business Bureau can let you vet them out and see which ones will be better for you. And you can look for sustainable delivery. There are companies such as Zipline, who, according to their website, have 97% fewer emissions than standard delivery techniques. But they're not exactly widely available, so you don't need to find something that amazing. You can just use FedEx or UPS, something already in place, or even the US Postal Service, which is subsidized through your tax dollars already. But how can you personally make a difference? You gotta find out what your priorities are. If you want speed and price, you gotta sacrifice on one. You might have to pay a little more for something that's gonna be there a little quicker, but it will be better for everyone involved. If you want something quick, you might just have to go get it yourself. But worst comes to worst, if you need something now, you can't find it near you and you need it cheap, you can always use something like Amazon. They're always gonna be there. They're always gonna be part of that market, but you just have to try to explore other alternatives. You gotta put morals over profit. To back it up, money talks. The bottom line is the only way to communicate with a large corporation. And if everyone puts in their little bit and just cuts down a little bit, they will notice this and they will see why we're doing it. So put humanity over your convenience and think about what others would have to go through just to help their family. Thank you.